Hello everyone, welcome to the class. In this class, we are going to revise usages of modal verbs. Okay, so let's get started. Who would like to read the text on the screen? Starting from here, may or might. Raise your hands. Okay, Minal, go on.
May or might. May and might can normally be interchanged without a significant difference in meaning. However, might often implies a smaller chance of something happening when expressing possibility. It may rain, 70% chance. It might rain, 40% chance. When expressing wishes or giving permissions, only may is used.
Okay, so as Minahil read to us the difference that there is a difference between the chance, okay, meaning may and might. There is a little difference between them. When you are using may, so 70% chance you have that something would happen, okay, and if you are using might, then 40% chance. Okay, so example, it may rain, meaning there are 70% chances, there are more chances. But if you say it might rain, then 40% chance, less chance. Okay, and let's look at some more differences. Now, here, when you are expressing wishes and when you are giving permissions, only may would be used, not might. For wishes and permissions, only may is used. Keep this in mind. Okay, now let's look at the usages, okay, of may and might. Hania, can you read two usages, possibility and permissions?
Yes, sir. May or might. Uses of may and might. Possibility. It might rain later, so take an umbrella. Give permission. You may have another cookie if you like.
Okay, now read this one also. Ask for permission.
Ask for permission. May I borrow your pen, please? Express wishes. May the new year bring you happiness. Speculate about past action. She's late. She may have missed her plane.
Okay, so these are not new things that we are discussing today, but it's a revision of modal verbs. So keep in mind that some of the things that we should keep in mind about modal verbs we are revising today. Okay, so here possibility with might. Okay, it might rain again. We discussed it earlier. Okay, so it might rain later, so take an umbrella. Now already we discussed that when we are using might, we have less chances, 40% chances. Okay, now we also learned that when we are giving permissions, only may is used. Okay, so here we are giving permission and here we are asking for permission. So you may have another cookie if you like. Okay, so here we are giving permission to somebody and here we are asking for permission. So see, in both of these situations where we are giving or taking permissions, we have used may. Okay, another thing that we situation we have here is expressing wishes. Okay, so in wishes we also use may the new year bring you happiness. We are wishing someone. Okay, so we would use may here. Now speculate meaning consider something. Okay, when about any action in the past. Okay, so she is late, she may have missed her plane, meaning we are considering this, we are thinking about the reason that this might have happened. Okay, so this is very easy, you already know this. Let's move to another file. Okay, another picture. Let's talk about must. Who would like to read this? Raise your hands. Okay, Bilal, go on. Start from here. Must
Must,
versus have to. Yes.
must, ver- must versus have to. Must expresses obligation exposed by the speaker while have to expresses external obligations. Teacher, you must complete this essay by Friday. Student, we have to complete this essay by Friday. It is more common to use have to instead of must in questions. Does he have to do the test?
Okay. So one thing that we need to understand here that what is the obligation imposed by the speaker and what is external obligation. Now here it says note says that must expresses obligation imposed by the speaker. Okay, meaning here the teacher is imposing an obligation, and here have to shows external obligation. Student is using have to because this is an external obligation on the student. So the teacher is saying you must complete this essay by Friday. Okay, so teacher is imposing this. Okay, student is saying we have to complete this essay by Friday. It's an external obligation. Okay, so student, hey, students have been imposed this by their teacher. Okay, so it's their external, it's not their own obligation. Okay, so another thing we have to keep in mind that when you have questions, okay, you don't use must. Okay, it's more common we use have to in questions, and remember that we use do, does, helping verbs, or did if it is in the past with have to. We do not keep the helping verb have before the subject. Okay, so according to subject, we would use do, does, or did. So does he have to do the rest? Okay, so remember here we used extra helping verbs do and does. Okay, so you won't use must. You can't say must he have to. Okay, so maybe it is old Shakespearean language and old English. You maybe used these structures, but in modern current language we use do, does, and did with have to. Okay, and we make questions with have to mostly, not must. Okay, let's look at some more usages. Bilal, continue reading.
Uses of must. Obligation. You must wear a seat belt when you drive. Reduction. Certain something is true. Look at all it look at all that snow. It must be cold outside. Emphasize necessity. Plants must have light and water to grow. Strong recommendation. We must get together for dinner soon. Must not is equals to prohibition. You must not use your phone while driving.
Okay, as Bilal read the usages of must to us, they are very self-explanatory, but let's focus. Obligation, so you must wear a seat belt when you drive. Now, for example, when you are giving anybody any obligations, okay, for example your parents mostly or your teachers mostly give you, or you yourself is give any obligation to your young siblings, then you would use must. Okay, so for example the sentence you must wear a seat belt when you drive. Okay, now deduction, certain something is true. Look at all that snow. It must be cold outside. When you feel something that you think is true, you are very certain about it, and there are some evidences. There are something that give you hints. Then you would use must, meaning you are so sure about it. Okay, so you cannot say it might be cold outside if you already are certain. Okay, you can also say it may be cold outside, but then you are not that sure about it. But if you are very certain, then you can say it must be cold outside. Okay, another usage, emphasize necessity. Okay, plants must have light and water to grow. It's very necessary for plants to have light and water so that they can grow. You are emphasizing on this thing. Another important thing that you should keep in mind that when you're writing essays and when you are writing conclusions, now there you must use different modal verbs to suggest something, to emphasize on something. For example, we are after a few minutes we are coming to the usages of should. Okay, so if you are using should in one sentence, you might say government should take measures to then do something. Okay, and you shouldn't repeat that modal verb. Then you can use must. Okay, or if you are using must, okay, in one sentence, then the sentence variety, you have to maintain. Then you should use mustn't, okay, in other sentence. So mostly when you are writing essays, okay, when there is a conclusion part, okay, remember this conclusion part, then there you need modal verbs to suggest things, okay, to recommend something. Then there also keep in mind that you shouldn't stick to only one modal verb, okay, and you should always be careful about your sentence variety. Okay, now another usage of must is strong recommendation. Okay, you are recommending something, okay, and if you say we should get together for dinner soon, okay, and if you are saying we must get together for dinner soon, there is difference. Okay, so must shows strong recommendation. Now why we are revising these rules? Because in certain situations we mistakenly use the modal verb that we shouldn't. There is definitely always some differences between these things. Okay, we should always know where we have to use what modal verb. So that's the reason we are revising some of the rules today. Okay, so when you are giving strong recommendation, you should use must. Okay, it's a very strong suggestion. And mustn't, okay, mustn't, it's not mustn't, it's mustn't. T in between would be silent. Mustn't. Okay, so remember this pronunciation, that T here is silent. Mustn't. Okay, and it shows prohibition. You mustn't use your phone while driving. Okay, now another note, we use heads to instead of must in the past tense. I had to pay my speeding ticket yesterday. Okay, so but I didn't. Okay, meaning I must, I should have done it. Okay, I was supposed to do that. Okay, meaning I had to pay. Okay, so it's showing the similar kind of obligation. Okay, so but if it is in past, then we would use had to. So if you have any obligation that you had to do, okay, in the past, then you won't use must to show your past obligation. Okay, so you would use had to. Now give me some sentences using must. Okay, tell me some sentences. Who would like to tell me? Use any kind of any usages that we have discussed. 2-3 sentences. Who would like to tell? Muzammil, do you have any sentences using must? Can you give us any sentence using focusing, emphasizing necessity? For example, I'm giving you a situation also. Okay, so the situation is Gaza and Israel. Okay, what should be done? What must be done? What is the need? Yes. Anyone raise your hand if you have any sentence. Okay, the situation is Gaza and Israel. use any usages that we have discussed. Who would like to tell me any sentence? For example, start your sentence with Israel must, then tell us what Israel must do. Okay? Raise your hands who would like to tell the sentence.
Sir, can
Yes, please. Yes.
Sir, Israel must end its atrocity.
Okay. Israel must end atrocity. Okay, good. Any other? Yes. Okay, situation I'm giving you. Situation is related to the same, but role of media. Okay. What media should do? Okay, use any usages. Use the word must. Yes, anyone? Okay, last sentence, then we would move to other models. Yes. 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 What's media doing? What's the role of the media in this situation? For example, Israel mustn't target the buildings of the news channel. The media must protest. For example, okay, media is already protesting. Okay, so let's move to another one now. What is the difference between mustn't and don't have to? Let's discuss this. Who would like to read this? Yes, we have many students today. Okay, Hania, read. Start from here. Mustn't versus don't have.
Mustn't versus
Yes.
don't have to. Be careful. There is a difference in meaning between mustn't and don't have to. Mustn't, meaning it is prohibited. It is not allowed. It is important that you do not do something. You must not drink that.
So can you
It
wait,
is
wait.
prohibited.
Before reading the sentences, can you read the difference here? Don't have to. Yes.
Okay, sir. Don't have to, meaning there is no obligation. You are not required to do something, especially if you don't want to.
Okay.
You
Now
must
read the
not
sentence.
drink that. It is. I have to read that, sir.
Yes, read the sentences. Read one sentence from here and then read sentence from the don't have to category. Yes.
Yes, sir. You must not drink that. It is prohibited to drink that. Don't drink that. It is not allowed.
Okay.
You don't have to drink that. You don't need to drink that, but you can if you want to.
Okay.
You mustn't tell John. Do not tell John. You are not allowed to tell John. You don't have to tell John. You can tell John if you want to, but it is not necessary.
Okay, very good. So here we know the differences. Okay, so it's very self-explanatory. So is Anya arranged to us the differences? I think they are very self-explanatory. I don't need to, I don't have to explain anything. I think. Okay, so see here, meaning if I want to explain, I can explain, but since it's so self-explanatory, then I think I mustn't. Okay, so remember that these are some of the differences when you are using mustn't and don't have to. Okay, so let's read them again. When you are saying mustn't, it is prohibited, it's not allowed. Okay, but when you are saying don't have to, there is no obligation, you are not required to do something. Okay, it is important that you do not do something when you are using mustn't. Okay, and here there is no obligation, you are not required to do something, especially if you don't want to. Okay, so remember this thing. These sentences explain everything. You mustn't, you must not drink that. You don't have to drink that. The difference is very obvious. It is forbidden when you are using must. Okay, and you don't have to. Don't drink that. Okay, it's not allowed. And here you don't need to drink that, but you can if you want to. Okay, so the differences are very obvious. Let's move to another one now. Okay, so here we have another one, shall. Who would like to read this? Participate, please. Don't just listen to other students or the teacher. Let me see who we have here. Okay, Bilal, go on. Read from here, this portion. Shall, the modal verb shall is
Yes,
not
sir.
used much nowadays. Okay, start from here.
The modal verb shall is not used much nowadays. It may still be found in formal speech and some legal documents. The most common use of shall in everyday English is in questions that offer or suggest. Shall I? Shall we? Originally, shall was used instead of will in first person with I and we when talking about the future.
Okay, wait. Now, if you have read any grammar book of any Sindhi author, okay, who have written book about English grammar, then they would focus on this thing still. Okay, but originally shall was, remember this thing. Originally shall was used instead of will in first person, and I first person I and we. So those people still follow this rule. They say use shall with I and we. Okay, and when you are talking about other pronouns he she it, then use will. And there was also another concept that when you are using I we took shall in the past, but if you used will with I, it meant that you would certainly do something in the future. Okay, this was something in the past, it's not valid today. Will is used with all of the pronouns. Okay, remember this thing. But many grammar books still would talk about this rule, but it's the old rule. Language evolves, language changes with the passage of time, so that rule is not valid these days. And remember here, the note shall is not used much nowadays. Okay, but it is still used. Where it is used? In formal speech and in some legal documents meaning documents that are related with courts or laws. Now for example, if any court document you would read, you would find shall there. If you would read any other formal kind of document, okay, any lawyer's document or any judge, any law, anybody, meaning any document which is related with courts and all these things, situations which are very formal, or any say speech by any official, okay, talking about some laws and rules, then you would find the usage of shall there. But if we talk about everyday life, okay, in everyday life, only there are only when we are offering or suggesting something, we use shall. Otherwise, we don't use shall. Okay, so suggestion, for example, here we have suggestions. Shall I get a pizza for dinner tonight? It's a suggestion. I'm asking. In everyday life, we only use shall in this way when we are offering or suggesting. Okay, remember this thing. Okay, now let's read some other usages of shall. Bilal, continue. Start from the usages of shall.
Uses of shall. Suggestions. Shall I get pizza for dinner tonight? Offers and volunteers. Volunteering. That bag looks heavy. Shall I carry it for you? Instructions. Asking for or giving. What shall I do with your mail when it arrives? Promises. You shall be the first person to know. Confirmation. Statement of fact. I shall meet you there at 7.
Okay. Okay, read the last notes also.
Yes, sir. In all of the examples above, shall can be replaced by another modal verb. Suggestions, instructions should, offers can could, promises and confirmations will.
Okay, now the last note sums up everything. Okay, so you would in modern language, even if you have these situations, you would use you would listen, find it, other modal verbs are used there. Okay, so only what I mostly hear, the situation where I find shall is suggestions, or second that I most commonly hear is offering or volunteering. Okay. Okay, so but
Sir,
yes,
sir, can we replace shall with may?
sorry, can you speak loudly?
Sir, can we just replace shall with may?
Shall with may. Okay, can you give us any example? Let's replace, change the modal verbs. Give us an example. For example, when you are saying,
Sir, for the
when
first,
you are offering suggestion, for example, then the situation would a little change, would be a little different. For example, if you say, uh, shall I get a pizza for dinner tonight? It's a suggestion. But may I get a pizza for dinner tonight? Now there would be a difference. You're asking for permission when you are saying, may I get a pizza? Meaning you're not, you don't have that authority to do. You have to ask for the permission. But when you say, shall I get a pizza for dinner tonight? It means that you can do that and you are just asking somebody else's suggestion. Okay, so in many cases you can change. Okay, but then slight difference between there would be. Okay, the usages. Okay, somebody has written in the chat box that share the syllabus. We had already shared the syllabus with the exam office. They had collected syllabus from all the teachers, so they were supposed to share it with you. If they haven't, then maybe you can contact on your own with the exam office. Maybe I would send them a message, okay, to the controller to share the syllabus with you. I have already submitted the syllabus. Okay, so we have limited time.
But can you send the syllabus on GCR?
Yeah, I can, because I had already submitted it to the exam office. They would just share a file with you. Okay, I'll ask them to share the file with me. Okay, and then I'll share the file with you. Okay, they have
Sir,
compiled the syllabus. Okay, the syllabi.
Sir, are those topics included which we have covered online?
Yeah, definitely. So whatever we have covered, some of the topics I have added in the exam. Okay. So remember, whatever we have covered in class, face-to-face classes or in online classes, somehow would be part of the class. Omer, what are you saying? Your hand is up. Yes.
sir, you can share the syllabus of English only because many teachers have individually, shared the syllabus with us.
Teachers have shared the syllabus with you already.
Yeah, but only of their subjects.
Okay, so I'll share with you the syllabus also. Okay, I'll ask the exam office if we have to share individually or they would share collectively because they have compiled in one document. Okay, let's finish this last one I have on the list today that we should discuss. Okay, so Umir, would you like to read this? Your hand is up. Okay, Nisabatul, you please read this.
Should, uses of should versus ought to. Should can be replaced by ought to without a change in meaning. You ought to study more. You should study more. Note: ought to sounds more formal than should and is used less frequently. We use shouldn't to advise not to do something, usually because it's bad or wrong. You shouldn't throw your litter onto the street. You shouldn't play with those wires if he doesn't know what he's doing. You shouldn't work so much. Now, uses of should: advice or suggestion. Your hair is too long. You should get a haircut. Situation likely in the present.
Continue. Yes.
Sorry, can you remove that arrow? I can't see the word properly. Mary should be at home now. Give her a call. Likely in the future, prediction: they should win tonight, they're better team. Should plus have plus past participle, meaning the subject should not fulfill their obligation in the past or did not act responsibly. You should have given your boss the report yesterday when he asked for it. Should plus be plus verb ing, meaning the subject is not fulfilling their obligation now or is not acting sensibly. You should be wearing your seatbelt. We should be studying for the test.
Okay, so Okay, so already we understand everything from the notes. One thing that I find important that I think that you might not, you already know this, but you should focus on this. Should plus be verb ing. Okay. So, for example, you should be wearing your seat belt. Okay. Now, what does this mean? It means that the subject is not fulfilling their obligation now or is not acting sensibly. Okay, we should be studying for the test right now. Okay, it means we are not studying, we are not acting sensibly. Okay, and we are not fulfilling our obligation. So when you have such kind of situation where somebody is not doing, is not fulfilling the obligation is and are not acting sensibly, then you can use should be and then verb in ing form. Okay, and here should have past participle. It's talking about the past. Okay, and the subject did not fulfill their obligation in the past or did not act responsibly. Okay, meaning it is related with this one, but it's in the present and it is this one is in the past. You should have given your boss the report yesterday when he asked for it, but you did not gave him the report yesterday. Okay, so this is past and this is present, and here likely in the future, prediction. Okay, they should win tonight. They are a better team. We are predicting here. Okay, should is showing us prediction. Okay, here. Okay, situation likely in the present. Mary should be at home now. Give her a call. Okay, meaning we are thinking that Mary is at home. Okay, she should be at home. Okay, and here advice or suggestion: your hair is too long. You should get a haircut. Okay, it's a suggestion. It's advice. Okay, maybe. Uh, okay. Okay, last one here. Let's focus on one important thing, that is should versus ought to. Okay, ought to is formal. It's not. I don't hear it in everyday speech. People don't use ought to. Okay, it's maybe in legal documents, or in any orders of the court or government. Okay, but it's not mostly common in everyday speech. So should can be replaced by ought to without a change in meaning. Okay, but remember that ought to sounds more formal than should and is used less frequently. Okay, so here in this case, you should study more, meaning it's your moral obligation that you should study more. Okay, so everybody, that's it for today. I hope you learned something, you revised you recalled the rules of the modal verbs, and I hope that you understand the different situations, and you understand which modal verb should be used where and when. Okay, any other questions if you have? As far as the syllabus is concerned, I'm going to talk to the exam office for the syllabus. Okay, so if they say that I should share individually, I'll share. If they are going to share any document with you, I'll let you know in the GCR. Okay, everybody, that's it for today, and you should be preparing for exams also. Okay, so remember this thing. Did you notice I just used you should be preparing this structure? Okay, why I'm using this structure? Because mostly students in AKB board are not, acting sensibly, or maybe are not fulfilling their, obligation. So they should be actually studying. Your exams are also coming soon, so you should also be careful about it. Okay, everybody, that's it for today, and goodbye for now. I'll see you next week.